scholarship was not an option. Personal funds was not an option.
Okay.
Family funding was not an option.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
That is wild. So you had denial on your F1 visa, so they rejected you.
and I felt like my career is just like all over, and that's why I decided to do like my master's. American universities that sponsor with scholarship, and that's how we could go to various schools, like how to find scholarship for my master's.
How much does it cost you for American University, which is in Washington, D.C., including cost of living?
They're giving you money to empower you, and what is this empower? So if it's not because of empower, I don't think I should be here, because they won't allow you to go and maybe figure out on your own. And for me, I knew that if I tell like my parents that I'm leaving, they won't allow me to do that. So actually, I kept a secret.
Thank you, Nancy, for doing this, and welcome to our series where we call this That's What She Said, where we are trying to bring women from different background who are international student and pursuing this journey. And obviously you dared to dream and you made it happen. So today we're going to explore your journey from Kenya to United States and what are the different challenges that you face. And please forgive me already, I'm asking forgiveness if I don't know a lot about Kenya, and my question is like, why is Yuri asking these stupid questions? So I'm just very curious, so don't worry about it. But before we get started, let's do like a quick intro. Who are you? When did you come to United States? What are you doing right now? And yeah, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, my name is Nancy, originally from Kenya, and I came to the United States in August 2023, to be specific, on 11th of August. And I came here for my master's. I'm doing MS Analytics at American University in Washington, D.C. And at the moment, I'm doing internship. I'm interning as a analyst, a research analyst with National Association of Counties, which is actually started like a week ago. And I work in the research department. And as a finals, my last class, which is only one, and I'm hoping to graduate in May 10th, to be specific.
Nice, amazing. So it was a 2 years program.
Yeah, so it was a 2-year program, but because of the restrictions of like, as an international student, you have to have a minimum of 9 credits. So that's why I couldn't graduate in August exactly, but because my grades are already like exhausted, and I want to face the wall and start looking for jobs. And no one loves being in school forever, so yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
I
yeah,
decided to.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I've never heard about American University, so I'm excited to like learn more about it as well. I was in Washington D.C., so I know a little bit about Washington D.C. But I want to start with your journey. And again, in Kenya, I don't know how things go, but what did you do your bachelor's in?
Okay, so I did my bachelor's in economics with information technology, and I
Mm,
graduated back in 2015.
okay.
And because of like an employment issue, I never really practiced economics in real life in Kenya,
Mm,
as much as I've worked from that 2015 to when I came here in 2023. But I've been working in various um, industries. I've worked in retail, I've worked in government, I've worked in nonprofit, I've worked in banking. So I had like
mm,
different various types of, and I felt like my career is just like um, all over. And that's why I decided to do like my master's, to be able to
mm.
streamline to go back again, because I was like, I want to really build a career on what I'm going to study for. That's
Nice.
why I decided to come back to school.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
You already stole my question. Like, why did you decide to do masters? So I love it. But it's interesting that you did not. So is it safe for me to assume that you did not have like a formal data analyst work experience, etc.?
Never. It
Okay.
was totally change of career for me.
Okay. And so you had like roughly sounds like 7 years of work experience, but in different fields, like retail, nonprofit, government, etc. And then finally you're like, all right, I'm going to make my career in analytics. Why analytics, and why not like MBA or marketing or anything else?
Okay, for me, I've ever asked this curiosity of why something's happening, and the reason why I really decided to do analytics is when I landed my career in the banking sector, and I
Mm,
was specifically in an investment department where I used to sell like insurance for education investment. And every time we could go for meetings, our boss was like, "Analysts are saying this, analysts," and for us, we are selling, So I couldn't really understand why,
mm,
where are they getting that information from, and it just like made me curious to just like, I think I should be the one who finds out. And also sometimes when I do like that, I feel like there is so many things that the management is not doing. Maybe we should do this, and so I feel like I think I should be the one to give out that, to do that analysis and also give insight to management. Maybe it can be able to uh,
mm,
make more sales in the department. And also it was a new department as well, so just like making errors there, here and there, and
mm.
just like go to the field, sell, call customers, mind that portfolios, and struggling in that field of sales, like how can we do this right, and why made me to decide to do analytics.
Nice. Okay. Now, this is a cultural question. I want to understand. Does a lot of people generally think of going to United States for their masters in Kenya, or is it you're special and you're like, no, I want to do it in America?
Uh, yeah, I'll say when unemployment started to be so high in Kenya, so many people never used to really dream go abroad,
Mm,
especially for school. And so it's a culture that came maybe after I graduated, and sometimes so we have like very few people who came before then, and but in the recent years we've had like so many Kenyans trying to pursue
mm,
their dreams abroad. And
mm.
most Kenyans go to like Australia, Canada, UK. For me specifically, I'd gotten application offer from two universities in the UK, but I landed in America. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. And so, again, this is probably another cultural question. In India, I would have to convince my parents, I want to go to study abroad in America. And, there's going to be like some negotiation and convincing. Do you guys have to convince your parents, or your parents are like, no, no, go, go?
To be honest, like especially in Kenya, we do have like 42 tribes.
Okay.
Um, and specifically my tribe, they are really known of like protective of their kids. They won't allow you to go and maybe figure out on your own. And
Mm,
for me, I knew that if I tell like my parents that I'm leaving, they won't allow me to do that. So actually I kept a secret until the day that I had my visa. Like, and I'm calling them like, you know what, dad, you know what, mom, I'll be traveling to the US in 3 weeks. So I made this decision by myself because I knew I start facing things like, say, oh, so you don't know anyone in the US, how you gonna start live and everything. And yeah, I knew they'll just like object me being there, because when I told them with the admission for the UK, they gave me so much objections like, so how are you going to start live with, so with funding you, and they can't help me with funding because personally come from like humble
mm,
background. So I knew like like they won't give me financial support, and I just had to figure out on my own on how
mm.
to do this. Yeah.
And now that you have done this journey, assuming the other Kenyans, women who probably are watching this and they are like, go Nancy, but now tell us how can we do this? Would you recommend them also to do the same thing? Like, just don't tell, get the visa done, and then tell your parents.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, because this life, they give birth to you, and you're the one who live life after. Maybe our parents
Mm,
won't be there forever, our siblings won't be there forever. The only time they'll be there with you maybe at younger age, but at specific age you have like to make your own decisions. So my
mm,
advice to them, like, go for it,
love it.
especially like women, like marginalized community. Back in my community, like most girls never used like to really go to school. We were being like seen as a source of maybe, well, sometimes you're the one to stay home and take care of kids. your
Mm,
siblings, and So personally, I'll say that uh, so many women still don't explore that opportunity because of that culture part of it, that girls
mm,
are not allowed to pursue it, and then like boys are the one like to do it. But I thank God, like right now it's like literally changing, and girl child with the money organizations have stood up for a girl child empowerment, and that's really
mm.
seeing that change, maybe going forward.
Amazing. And I
Yeah.
hope that women from Kenya or from Africa in general are watching this video and they feel inspired and empowered to take that next step. Okay, so now that you decided, obviously you were doing all this behind the scene. One thing I want to understand, how did you decide on the list of universities that you probably had to apply to certain universities? Did you only apply to one, or were there many universities? And if there were, how did you come up with that list?
Um, I'll say, to be specific, for my application to the US, I applied for three schools, but
Okay.
because I had like friends already in the US, so I was also like doing my own personal research on the same. And I knew that I really need to study,
Mm,
abroad.
mm,
But I could say I didn't get so much resources on someone to advise me on specific universities to go. I remember if I go to a website, like I get confused, maybe like programs, what do they need? And I didn't, by then I was looking for a university that makes my life of application like really streamlined. I didn't want to do like English test because you're already coming from English speaking country, and also financial constraints. So I was not able to do like so many things like GMAT exams or doing that English test, or maybe doing like transcript evaluations. So for me specifically, I was searching for those schools that doesn't have that requirement.
and when you say
And
searching, would you just go online and just type like list of how did you come across American university, like you said? So would you just look for it and then go through every single university's requirement and then is like, okay, nope, this is not the one. Yep, this fits in my thing, and then start shortlisting it.
okay, so the first thing how I used to search is like American universities that sponsor with scholarship, and that's how
Mm,
we could go to various schools, like how to find scholarship for my masters, and I
mm,
could get like pop up of so many. I don't know, it's phrasing. It's phrasing. So I could like search scholarships for master's program. That's where I used to start like application, because I was looking for scholarship. And in the website there you'll see like sponsored universities coming up there. In real sense, they're not offering scholarships, but they're just like being marketed. So, but for American universities, to be specific, it was a referral from a friend who were already studying there.
mm,
But this was after a long journey struggling on myself, and starting so many applications without completing them. And so I talked to a friend who we schooled together in university back in Kenya, and I told him like, how did you end up in the United States? And he told me his story, how he came. But I told him that I'm thinking of doing my master's, and if he knows any help about like how to go about it, I'll really appreciate it. And it was really coincident that he had a friend as well who was already in American university, and he linked me up with him, and that's how my I just started applying for America, and that's where I got the admission on it. So I
mm.
never bothered to finish the application for the other
Nice.
schools. And as I told you, I had gotten like some offers, two of them from UK. That's
Mm.
Kent University in the UK, and another one I don't remember. But I had already gotten the two offers from the UK because I had wanted to go to UK before I decided to come to the US.
Nice. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And I probably will do like a separate video, but I would love to like even understand more on the timeline and all of it. But
Mm,
I'm gonna skip that part and we'll do it in a separate video because I want to keep focus on the story.
mhm.
So you decided the university, you applied for it. Obviously, you probably looked at the cost of this university as well. Uh, how much did it does it cost you for American University, which is in Washington D.C., including cost of living?
So if I start from application, my application for the American University was totally. They had application fee for $100, but they had an option that if you watch an online
Webinar.
webinar, they give
Yeah.
you a waiver for that. So I was trying to avoid anything that will lead me to use my like some cash on it, and then so I paid like for the visa. I paid like that time was $160, and then for service fees like $350, and then the school needed a fee deposit of $500. Those are the
Mm,
money that I used while I was in Kenya. So I'll say that's roughly around that is 350 plus 160 plus five
yeah,
hundred dollars. I think more than
roughly
$1,000. Yeah,
$1,000. Yeah.
yeah, roughly 1,000. And from there, of course, American University they do charge per credit, and the cost of living, I'll say, per month, my monthly expenses comes to around $800 because also, Washington D.C. is not really easy. So,
No.
yeah, I'm cost sharing with my roommate. Like we also made in LinkedIn before I came to the US. So
Interesting.
uh, so I started networking while I was back home in
Mm,
Kenya. That was uh, around May to now start looking for a roommate because I was like, okay, I'm going to the US, so am I going to stay? And as you know, students we share apartments here, and for
yeah.
the school fees, roughly per course cost like around $6,000.
Entire course or
No, just like per.
first semester?
Okay, here we call course, but it's a program, but a course is like one class.
Oh,
So by
one
then it was like
class is
times three. It's
$6,000.
like $57, $66. Yeah.
Wait, wait.
Yeah.
57,000 what? Uh,
57, 66.
5766 is one course, and you have to take
Mhm.
9 of them or 10 of them.
So my total was like 33 credits, so 63,426. Those are my
Oh,
school fees
wow.
for the whole
Uh,
program.
Gotcha. Okay.
63,426 for the whole program.
Nice. Okay.
Maybe I'll
So,
just keep it general like that way. And of
yeah,
course,
yeah, yeah,
from
of course.
there,
Of
from there
course.
there is insurance. Insurance like approximate. We're given an option by school which we pay around $2,500 per year. So let's say for insurance you'll have a roughly of $5,000.
Mm, okay. And
Yeah.
then
So that
flight tickets and all of that as well.
flight
Initial expense.
tickets. Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember I remember actually I booked my flight because I got my visa on 17th of July and I was supposed to travel before August. So I booked my flight in like very short time, which I paid almost $1,500 one way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is expensive.
Yeah.
We'll get to that part, but it sounds like the overall cost, again, $800 per month. I'm taking 20 months or so, which you will be studying. So that's $16,000 or so.
Mhm.
So roughly, 80,000 or so plus additional. So 85,000 is like a rough figure for your entire master's journey,
Yeah.
and of course it's a very expensive. So did you have finances figured out, or like how did you fund yourself?
Okay. To be honest, when I started this journey, as I told you, I was looking for scholarship, which became impossible for me, like
Mm,
really to to get it. And depending on family was also not an option for me. Also, paying myself was not an option for me because, as I told you, I never landed in a career that really is what I studied for. So, what I've been doing is like not to just stay out of employment, but just like to have something to pay my bills because I
mm,
used to live in Nairobi, the expensive city, the capital city of Kenya. So, the money that I was getting there, it was just like for my 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 transport, my rent and food. So I never had a chance to save a cent. So I didn't have any personal funding. And here I'm dreaming of going to study in the US without anything. Through that friend as well, I came like to learn about Empower, but I
Mm,
also learned through my journey. I'll try to go back until like 2021 when I started following a program called Kenya Lift program. It's a program really. It's an organized. It's a program that bring Kenyan students to study in the US. But
mm,
I was like, oh, they're funding all these students, for their
mm,
school. And I remember I could watch so many uh, uh, YouTube with that like Kenya Lift program, and that's where I learned about what is this Empower. Then it made
mhm.
me like curious to go and like search for it. Empower is like, if you say like empower, someone will think that it's just like money to empower you, right? But
Yeah,
it's just like money you're given, but no one knows that it's like a funding. It's like
yeah, it's a
it's
loan
funding,
or
but
yeah.
yeah, it's a loan or something. So when you
Mm,
see like empower, it's like, okay, they're giving you money to empower you, and like, what is this empower?
right.
So so I remember I sent my transcript to the director by then, because they were asking for free transcript evaluation because they needed you to have done your degree and you're dreaming of doing a STEM course specifically. That's even how I learned about STEM and how I learned about like Empower. And it was coincidence now the friend that I was connected with was also using Empower. And the only question from me was to ask him, is this real? Like, do you manage to, how do you pay, so
Yeah.
because the other program I never used to now get to that person like specifically to ask them
Mm,
how does it go. So
mm,
it's like, is this real? How are you maneuvering about the same? The only thing I remember he told me like it's doable, Nancy, and I'm doing it. So yeah, I think that's what
mm,
gave
mm,
me that confidence as well to
mm.
stay at it, yeah, and go ahead to do that.
Nice. Love it. So
Yeah,
they did empower you.
yeah, yeah. Of course, they did empower me like others. Like I really, if it's not because of Empower, I don't think I should be here, because
Mm,
scholarship was not an option, personal
mm.
funds was not an option,
Okay.
family funding was not an option for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so how did the process go for with Empower? Like, did you make an application, submitted the application, and they said like, yep, you are congratulations, you are approved. And then is that how it went?
Yeah, so according to Empower, by then you needed to have like that the offer letter, the admission letter from school. Then now, because now it will give you the rough amount of how much you need,
Mm,
like from the school, and now you go ahead and submit your application with Empower. And this friend of mine guided me to do that, and my process was really seamless. Like I got my approval, I think in 1 week.
mm,
And apart from that, like they gave me all the funding that I wanted to. So I didn't have any problem. And the school had given me also scholarship for like $20,000 as well.
mm.
So I had like a cutoff
Nice.
of
So,
yeah.
and how did you get this $20,000 scholarship?
Okay, so in American universities, like an automatic scholarship they give
Okay.
upon admission.
Mm.
And as much
Okay.
as the school fees is like high, they give you also a generous scholarship which cuts
Mm,
your school fees to less. So I needed like $50,000, not like
mm,
really that much amount. Yeah,
mm.
and also it depends with the program as well. It depends
Yeah.
with the program, but my program gave me like 20,000.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So now the funding is good. University is good. The biggest hurdle from you from Kenya to America is your F1 visa. And I know there are a lot of people nervous about F1 visa. How was your F1 visa? Were you nervous at all, or were you like, nah, I'm gonna get it? Like, I'm just gonna, you know.
Of course, the Kenya is like F1 visa. It's not even really F1 visa, but because I use social media, I would like so much to learn a lot and to connect with other students for F1. So I got like scared. People are getting like denials, denials, denials.
Mm,
And For my case, in fact, I got a denial the same year, and then I went the same after 2 months, and I got an approval.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That
So
is wild. So you had denial on your F1
mhm.
visa, so they rejected you, but then you applied again after 2 months and then you got it. Okay. Please explain like what happened in the first one and then how did you convert the rejection into approval?
Okay. So to be specific, I got my I-20 in April, around 3rd of April. And then I submitted my DS-160 and I applied. And I remember I got a date in 2024
Mm,
by then, but I just got that spot. And then I kept on like rescheduling.
mm,
Just
mm,
I held that spot. And then I remember on 2nd of May, I was just like going to work. And then I had gotten used to checking the dates because now you just have to, in your mind, you're looking for the dates. And then I was just in the train. I'm like, oh my God, there is a date. And then I click on it like so quick before it gets like taken. And when I confirmed everything, and then I'm like, calendar, oh my God, it's tomorrow. So that
Oh
like
no.
but I was prepared for the journey as well. But the only thing I was not prepared is like paying the service fee. And
Mm,
service fee, they require you to pay 3 days before the date for interview so that it gets updated
mm,
on their end. And I've already moved from my date that was, in fact, I'd gotten back to like October, and my program is supposed to start in August, so it was not also workable. Now I cannot go back to another date because now they're already in April, March. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go. And I didn't know, I didn't want anyone to know at work as well that I'm doing this. So when I went to work, I started like to pay my service fee. I prepared my papers, printing my documents for the embassy now tomorrow because my interview was at 8 in the morning. So I prepared um everything, and yeah, I was so nervous, but I had that second thought that this service fee, they say that it should reflect, so you need to
mm.
pay like 3 days before. And um I just decided like to go. I didn't have any options. So I'm like, okay. So during my interview, I was like nervous. And I remember they just asked me 2 minutes and they told me, like, I'm sorry, I cannot approve your visa this time.
So
Yeah.
is it common to have longer interviews? Like in India, typically the interviews are 30 seconds or 1 minute only. So is it common in Kenya to have longer interviews?
Yeah, it's common. Like, I think I took two minutes in my first interview, and the second one it took me like almost 5 minutes for
Oh,
sure.
okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
yeah.
India, it's you typically get done in 30 seconds or 1 minute. And
Oh my. You
so,
can't
so
even talk about yourself in
yeah, you
in
can't,
30
you
minutes.
can't.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like it's better to have 5 minutes. At least you can explain your story and I like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. At least, yeah. So I got a denial, but I felt like I was giving up. Like during that time, I was like giving up and stuff, but still, it took me time to regain that May. So from that 3rd of May to decided again to reapply, it took me like courage. By then, I'd exhausted all my funding. Now
funding.
my 500 is gone. I know that it's non-refundable for the deposit I paid. And savings, I know that at least I'm gonna use it because I'm like, no, I'm just going to apply it again. But it was not really like I didn't know the specific time. So my 500 was the one I got a denial, and I've already used the whole money. So for my second one, I decided to apply around 20th of May,
Mm,
the same month.
mm,
After talking to a friend who had a brother who came to the US, he also got a denial the first time, and he got the approval the second time. So this friend of mine advised me that Nancy tried for the second time, and for me, I believe that I had everything that it takes to be given that visa
mm,
because I like America was a good school, and of course there is so many international students that have been given in the same school. There is also the same students who've been given with the same program.
Mm,
I had like funding, so I just felt that there is nothing different, and I think I deserve to be given that visa. And I knew that people advise you that, oh, don't try immediately until like 3 months. But when I go back to read that denial paper, when they give you, they just tell you to reapply anytime you feel something has changed, right? And for
mm,
me, I saw not staying, like, because I knew that I'm not gonna change anything. My
mm,
situation is just like gonna remain the same. Funding, I'm just going to use Empower. And for the university, I don't think the university was really the one which was giving me that. So I said, like, I'm not gonna wait for 3 months because there is nothing I'm changing.
mm.
But now this time around, maybe
You're more prepared.
I'm more prepared. I've paid my service fee. And I think also made me think of maybe its service didn't reflect because I paid like just like yesterday's, not 3 days. That's why it made me also to go back.
Mm, okay.
So I remember my second my second interview was my friend who paid for me that. It's my friend who paid for me that $160 for the, like, for the visa, because I had no money.
Mm,
And she just told me, just go with my faith.
mm,
And yeah, so I reapplied. And then now I reapplied. I submitted the application on 1st of June.
mm.
And then because reapplying it, like it,
What were the questions they asked you the next time?
okay, the next time, now this time around, I was so prayerful. Like I prayed God, like I'm not changing anything. So I did my prayer 7 days before my interview. And at that, the same day my interview was at 7. So I never asked for a leave at work. So I knew at 8 I should be at work. I didn't tell anyone as well, like completely this time around. The second time, no one knew about it. So my interview was at 7. And
Mm,
unlike the first time, the second time was like open. If I get a denial, it's just like fine. So I was not like that much nervous the second time. And
mm,
I didn't even wake up at 4. And like the first time that I woke at 4 to, okay, look at the questions. This time around, I slept until like 5:40. I called my Uber at 6 and then I went there. Uh, so when I was there, so they asked me, it was my turn now to go in, and they asked me a couple of questions. It was different officer interviewing me this time around, and as usual, you give out your passport and then you get in. So he just asked me the first question, like, why you go to the US, and then what did you study in my undergrad. I say that it's like, how did you how did you perform.
mm,
I told him like I had second class upper division. And then like he asked me that, do you know what is an OPT? Then I
mhm,
said yes, I know what's an OPT.
mhm.
And to be honest, I didn't know what is OPT in full. But with confidence I just said yes, I know what's an OPT. So thank God he didn't ask me. So
Yeah.
it's like, are you planning to take the OPT? I told him like no, because by then I had like a job. And I remember he told me that, don't tell me what you want my ears to hear. Tell me the truth. I'm like, yes, I'm telling you the truth. And then another question was like, have you been here before? I told him yes, I was here in May.
Mm,
Of course, yes, he has the system, so he knows that I was
mm,
here. But thank God he didn't ask me what changed this time round. That's the question,
mm,
because I was expecting like what changed this time round, and
mm,
I couldn't really. I was just like in my mind, I'll say that okay, the first time I was nervous, and then I paid my service fee like late, and so it didn't go that way. It's like, so what are you going to study? And I just like position like my course and what I'm coming back to do in the company that I was working at that moment. And he told me, who is funding your education? So of course it was Empower. And then he went into like deep, how much interest like are you gonna pay? Thank God I had like all much the details about Empower, and I said my interest was this and this. And he didn't ask me how I'm going to pay like funny enough. And yeah, so the last question he also came back and asked me, um, so for the last time, are you gonna take the OPT? So I told him no, and yeah, just a like congratulations and I approve your visa. And
Nice. Okay, so that visa is gotten. Congratulations, you were like super happy, and now you call your parents like, "Hey, I'm going. See you. Bye bye. In 3 weeks, I'll be gone." And then you finally made your flight tickets and everything. Did you book your apartment housing part before coming to United States or after coming to United States?
I did book after being here because I was trying to check online and I was getting like so many scam telling me to pay first
Mm.
before. So, and I know that I'm not going to pay for something I've not seen, not unless I'm using an incredible source that uh like they are going to see first before then, because I was using Facebook to check on it. So I paid when I'm already here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so you landed where? So where do you fly from, and then where did you landed?
Okay, so my flight was from Kenya to Washington DC, Dallas Airport, and I had a layover in London for
Mm.
like 1 hour 45 minutes.
Oh, so London, then Dallas, and then from Dallas to Washington DC.
No, it's that Dulles. It's Dulles International Airport
Oh, acha, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Washington DC. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
Dallas.
yes. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
Dallas, not the Texas Dallas.
Not Dallas, the Texas one. Yeah,
Acha, okay.
yeah.
How was the immigration? Did they ask you anything, or they just let you go?
Okay, so my immigration getting in was really a seamless one. In fact, I remember like when I'm already like picking my bag and I was still looking for somewhere to ask for the next step, because when I check the YouTube videos, so now you arrive, okay, can you take your bag, take these things. So for me, I knew that it's not complete yet, but it was already complete. So they just asked me, so what are you here for? I told him like for school, where will you be staying? I gave out like my school address, and he asked me for my I-20 and my passport. I gave it out, and then he asked me like, did you do you have any food? So I had like tea leaves and some spices. I made sure I mentioned, and then he asked me how much cash you had. I had like $1,000 in cash, so I told him I have $1,000 in cash. I have food, which is like tea leaves and spices. He's like, they're all dry food, right? So I told him like yes, and yeah, he didn't. Nowadays in this airport they don't stamp your passport, so he
Yeah,
just like told me welcome to the United States, and that's it. That's why I
got
was
it.
like my my migration is not complete because I didn't see the part of taking out my bags and like, oh, what is this? The way
Oh,
I
yeah,
seen,
yeah,
the
yeah.
way I saw in YouTube, or
Yeah.
like
So
going
again,
through the
for
port of
peop-
entry.
right, for people from Kenya, if they are watching, it typically you'll get out of the airplane. And the first thing that happens is the port of immigration. So, which is where they asked you the bunch of questions. From there, you go to customs, which is where the back checking thing happens. But in your case, it did not, because they probably didn't find anything suspicious. So they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
so, but usually immigration and then customs, and then you get out of
Oh.
the airport. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because for me, like when you get in from that international, then you'll see the immigration part. Then
Hmm.
from there now, I just went, I saw my bags there.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
And
after
then
picking my bags, now I'm looking for the next step to go to
yeah,
get my bags checked. But okay,
right.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they only pick certain people. They don't ask everybody.
Oh.
Only if they find it. So, but that's amazing. Cool. So you landed in United States. This was the first time you were coming in America. Any culture shocks? Like anything like you thought like, because obviously you've been watching YouTube videos, so you probably knew a lot of things. But anything you find it very different than Kenya?
Oh yeah. Like I remember when I was in Kenya, the first thing I was told that America is like the coldest part in Kenya is the warmest here in the US. So I
Mm.
never knew that it's so hot in the US. So I came in August. So I had like my big jacket, and when I landed in the airport, getting out, like you feel the heat coming up like from your legs. I'm like, oh my god, I thought America is like cold. So that's one of the culture shock. It's really like too hot. When it's too hot, it's too hot.
Yeah.
And experiencing that, another culture shock is that in Kenya we normally keep left, but here
Mm.
we keep right. That's something I'm still struggling in elevators, and the whole time I keep on like going left, and I'm obstructing people, and people are getting like impatient because everyone is on the rush and everything. So
Yeah.
that's also one of the culture shock experience. And then another culture shock is food. Oh my
Mm.
goodness, food. But the good thing is like I like cooking, so most of the food I do on my own.
Mm.
I have problem going to restaurants. You order a sandwich, is like, okay, you order from like bread, I don't know, half full, white, brown, then cheese, I don't know, chicken, what type of chicken, and then cheese. Like there is, I think I just know American cheese. I always say, give me American cheese, and then I'll go back to all those. And you're just ordering a sandwich, like, like, oh, give me just sandwich. So,
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. I know because
so
in India also we would just say like just sandwich, and there are maybe like two or three different types of sandwich. But
yeah.
over here, you have to tell them every single thing what you put it in the sandwich, and
Yeah.
that's interesting.
So
Yeah, I
So
can.
food, like getting like iced tea or thin tea, which is called never. So I saw it here, and also like if you come to Kenya and you ask for tea, you expect like you a brewed tea with milk and tea leaves and stuff. But I had gone with a friend, and she asked for latte, and then I'm like, no, for me, I'm taking tea. Then when they brought it there, she was given like the tea with milk, and then I'm brought just like the tea without milk. I'm like, no, this is mine. She's like, no, this is mine. So like I asked for tea. So like this is tea you ask for, and so
Right,
yeah,
right.
so, so
True,
yeah, so,
true.
and then culture shock, of course, doing your own hair. I had to learn like to be my own stylist, and because it's really
Mm.
expensive. Yeah, so I'll
What's the
say
hair
those are.
cost? What's the haircut like
Oh,
hair cost in Kenya versus over here?
in Kenya, if I do hair, it's like it gonna cost me $10 everything. But here, if I do normal braid, it's like $160.
Wow.
Yes, I'm a student. I'm a student. I cannot avoid that at the moment. So that's something I had to learn, like literally to do. Thank God during COVID, I had known how to do something, but this is the time round I had to do it on my own head.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a struggle. African hair is like difficult because if it's too cold, it shrinks. You cannot even go out with it. If it's like too hot, it also shrinks because you are sweating and everything. So you cannot stay with your natural hair here. That's hard.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
it's so hard.
Got it. Okay. So food was obviously shock. What about the people? Like were so in like one of the things that I faced the culture shock was like people were like extremely nice and smiling, and I'm like, why is this person smiling? I don't even know this person, or they're talking to me. So I don't know if that's same in Kenya or not.
Yeah, of course, in Kenya, people are so friendly, and
Okay.
even people can just like, hey, hey, and say hi. But when I came here, uh, everyone you see they're on in their own earphones. So even if you talk to someone, not unless like you touch
Mm,
them. I
mm,
I think you've seen that here. Like it's really hard to, and in this year as well, people are just like so busy. I think that's what. And what you said also, like when you meet someone, they smile. You don't know if they're saying hi or they're laughing at you. I've never understood. I've asked, but I've never gotten an answer to that. So I don't, I don't know. Someone smiles at you and you don't know them, and you don't know if they're laughing at you or they're saying hi. So
right. Right.
it's
Right.
really hard. Yeah.
What
But
about
yeah, some people are
education?
so nice. Some people,
Mm.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll say some people like are so nice. You can find people who are so nice, and
Mm.
I've had also difficulty whereby I ask someone in the store for something and they literally like assumed me, and also in bus stop, because like here, like you don't know if you're supposed to stand on the left of the or the right, and then ask someone, I'm going to this bus to like to Georgetown University. Do you think this is the right stop? And literally just like faced away and didn't speak to me, and so I had
Mm,
to learn like make wait first until the like the first bus passes, then I see, oh, this is the one, then I need to cross the other side. So I used to survive that way.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's challenging. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, what about education? Like, is it same in Kenya, or did you have culture shock in education as well?
Oh my. Education is one of the like culture shock, like in Kenya we don't study. We don't study for sure in Kenya. And
Mm,
I'll say it's so involving. As much as
mm,
people say that like American education is like easy, but it's so much involving that it's easy, yes, but it's just like a lot of content, and
mm,
then you just have to plan your time like so well. So it can really be overwhelming sometimes. And considering me, I was out of school for 8 years, so going back to
mm,
study again was like a bit of a challenge, but I managed it. I'm like graduating this May, so I'll say the quality of education is really nice, and they're exposing you. Doing a project in every course, doing those presentations, how the professors are so friendly. In Kenya, I don't know even like you could approach like so many professors like that, but here they're really available. Here you can text any professor, you can send them an emails. They are so approachable, and in fact, they're asking you how can they help you. So they make that ease of you getting like scared or nervous to talk to them really easy for, and that's the support I really appreciate about like American system. Like, yeah,
mm,
you can text anyone wherever you want. Like, it's not like Kenya, like someone is like the title be like, oh no, I'm not gonna reach out to them, but here you can even like reach out to the dean and no one would question
mm.
why did you text the dean directly without maybe texting the secretary.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Amazing. What about on-campus jobs? Did you have one?
Yeah, actually, I when I came, I didn't find, because of my visa denial, so I didn't had great time to apply because I was not now. But there is some friends who applied before coming here and they got it. But for me, I got it in December,
Mm,
so I stayed without a job until December, and I worked with that professor until last week when I started now my internship. So I stayed with him. And the fact that I was doing like research for him as a graduate assistant, and I never used to have like breaks, even summer holidays. He'll just make me just like work the whole time, of course, with the restriction of 20 hours a week.
mm.
So yeah, so I've
Wait,
never
wait.
had
So
problem.
you got a graduate assistantship with the professor, but obviously you didn't get it in the first semester. You got it in December. How did you get it? Like, did you just reach out to him, or they just told you? Like, how did this happen?
So in our school we do have in the website the career website for students. So I kept on applying for jobs there, but this specific I was networking also with some friends. So with this specific job, I got it through a referral by a friend. So my friend knew this professor, and the professor didn't post in the career uh, for careers that is looking for someone. But this friend of mine is like, oh, the research professor is looking for a graduate assistant, and then I don't know if you're interested, because I had told so many people that I'm looking for a job in case you're any
Mm,
professor. I was approaching professors even after class. Professor, I'm looking for a job. I'm an international student. I could apply for job and do email follow up, and that's where how I got this job. And the same week I got this job, I also got like two jobs at the same time.
mm,
So, but I chose to do the research because I see that it's gonna expose me on analytics that I'm doing. Because the
mm,
other one was gym fitness leader. So I saw that I saw something that I'm gonna put in my CV, and I opt to do the
Yeah, I think that was a smart
yeah,
decision.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what is the typical like pay range for this? Does it help you cover the cost of living?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll say with discipline financial planning, I managed to pay my loan in the upkeep through the same payments from
Oh,
my
nice.
on-campus job. So from January, I never used out of money out of my pocket to pay for the bills and the loan.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Cool. Another like question I have, and this is probably coming from, I want to understand the culturally how you guys do it. But in India, like if we come to United States, there's a normal tendency that we love to stay with Indian people. Like, Indian are always in Indian community. Is that same in Kenya as well? Like you like try to do, or did you do something different?
Or like when I came to the US, like I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
want to stay with Kenyan community. No, for me personally, because I didn't know any Kenyan here, because the person who referred me had already graduated, so
Oh,
I just made my own network from, especially the people I made connection with is with those students in the same program. So that's how I made that connection from the day of orientation.
hmm.
And I have friends all over from India, Bangladesh. I thought like Bangladesh is still India, but they told me no, no, it's it's not.
No, no. Which world are you living in? No, just
I
kidding.
thought you you're just like no.
Right, right. Nice.
Yeah, and
And were you,
yeah.
what advice would you give to like aspiring Kenyan students who are planning to come to United States in terms of networking? Because it's a big thing when it comes to United States for getting job, on campus jobs, and just like not feeling lonely. What would you say in terms of like networking advice?
Okay. For me, I'll say like networking. You start as much as like just immediately when you think about like studying abroad. As I told you, my roommate we just like network in LinkedIn before even like coming here. So and even don't limit yourself like to just like Kenyan community. Network to anyone in like in the US or network. Reach out through LinkedIn. Talk to friends. You could know a friend who is in different state, but they know someone in like the place that you are going. So I'll just say networking is really important, and that really helped me to even land this on-campus job. Also, like get this roommate to stay with, and yeah, a lot. Like I'll just say like networking is the first thing you need to do. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and don't limit yourself to like like Kenyan community. I've met like Kenyan community like in church and I have now I have like many like Kenyan students who came past me and yeah. So yeah,
Nice, amazing.
yeah.
And l- like, I want to ask you one last question before we wrap. Is now that you have gone through this journey, if you were to go back in time, is there anything different you would do, or like, what are some of the things that you like? Okay, now I know all of this. I wish someone would have told me all these things.
Okay. That's a hard question
It
because
is, yeah.
I think like researching on schools the way I told you, I think now I know better that I also need to like to inbox professors and look for graduate assistantship like themselves. Like some schools, I know some students does that, reaching out first to the professors to ask for graduate assistant before even like coming here. So for me,
Mm,
I didn't have that as an option. Like how could I even inbox someone who doesn't? I'm just starting application, right?
mm,
um yeah, and I think for me, there is not much that I'll say I wish I knew before, like, uh, like coming here. Of course, like apart from learning how to drive, I'll advise people to learn to drive like when they are back in, because I'm facing it the hard way. I have to pay like so many for driving school here.
Mm,
That's
mm,
something I wish I knew before I came
mm,
here.
mm.
Um, yeah,
Nice. Okay. So one you said is apply for the on-campus jobs and reaching out to professors before coming to United States because that'll help you. Second, obviously you spoke about networking. It's very important. And then third, learn to drive because it's expensive over here to learn to drive.
yeah,
So if you know how to drive, then you just have to figure out the different rules and everything in United States.
yeah.
Nice. Cool. Any other advice to aspiring Kenyan students who are wanting to come to United States?
To my fellow Kenyan students who are aspiring to come here, I'd like just dare. And there is one thing I normally like saying: when you know the reason why you really want to do this, because no one forces you to do it, but this, it's not easy. So when it really comes from your heart that I really need to do this, then, and you know the reason why, then how you're gonna figure out all those other things will follow. But why makes you to just like we call it in Kenya like kujituma. It's like sending yourself, or like pushing it to that, like
Mhm.
pushing yourself to that thing and going for it. So I'll just like advise them, whenever, follow those goals and follow those dreams, so long as, yeah, like just dare it, like for sure. And don't have like, oh, am I gonna, don't have like that much fear of doing something. Like for me, I'm a darer for sure. Like I go
Nice.
for it. Like I dare to come to the unit without even knowing anyone, or I like I had loan and how am I gonna survive and stuff. But I'm like, okay, so long as I'm just like there, I'm gonna figure out how to go about it. And yeah,
Amazing.
I don't
You
regret it.
you
Yeah,
are the woman who dare to dream. So it's kind of fit
yeah,
in this
yeah,
situation that we are
exactly.
trying to do
Yeah,
this. Amazing. That
yeah.
is so cool. I love it. And of course, for all the Kenyan students, if you have more questions, I'll leave Nancy's LinkedIn. So maybe they'll reach out to you and ask you questions or try to network with you. It's like Nancy told people to reach out to LinkedIn. So maybe then now they will reach out to you. Uh,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just network. I'll really be happy to, because even me through someone, that's how I. But I knew first that I need to do this. But just through that, I'll be happy to help them. And
Another question: would you recommend Empower to other students?
oh my god, absolutely. Like if not because of Empower, I don't know even that I'll be here. Like for sure. Like if you tell someone that you've gone to US, until even right now, people ask me like, how do you fund? Okay, I use an organization called Empower. What is Empower? It's like they fund international students. They don't believe that you are an international student, but you can get a loan in the US,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
they think that it's like they fund it like from Kenya, but I told them it's a US based.
yeah.
So absolutely 100%, I'll recommend there. It's so long as you just have that financial planning. It's possible. I'm doing it, and I know people have done it, and I'm doing it, and of course you'll do it. So
Amazing. Yeah,
yeah, I recommend 100%. Yeah, yeah.
amazing. Thank you, Nancy. This was amazing. I learned a lot about your story about Kenya, and I know there's so much more to learn about it. So I'm gonna bring you back, try to bring you back on the show. But until our next one,
Keep smiling. Keep asking.
nice. How do you say that in Kenya language?
Fry and kujituma.
Oh
Kujituma is like hustling, yeah.
no, Kujituma.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay. All
kujituma. Like you just like keep hustling.
nice. And what about
Yeah.
smiling?
It's just like fry, like
Fry.
furai, yeah.
Oh, fry.
Furai.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, then hopefully people fry and Kujituma. Nice.
yeah. Kujituma, yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool.